I'm so happy to be back again with you at Grandma's Kitchen. Now today I'm really anxious to get started with this because this is one of my very favorite recipes. Voila, eggplant Italian style. And again, this is one of the recipes from my mother and my grandmother, but it's something that I modified a little bit, but not really too much. I haven't really strayed very far from the original recipe. Okay, now I'm about to prepare the eggplant. Now, one of the things that I do with the eggplant is I do not cook with the skin on. Now, when I cut it, I'm going to cut this part off. Naturally, we don't need that. And I'm only going to do maybe, about that, what is that? Maybe 1/4 of an inch at the most. Not thick. I don't like thick eggplant either. I like it just about this side. It can't be too thin. This is good. This is too thin. So what I do is I simply slice. I try to keep the pieces even, as I said before in my other video, so that the food will cook evenly. It's not very seedy, and you see? See, it isn't. See that? Look, just the beginnings of very few seeds there. I take a piece of absorbent paper, like paper towel, and I will just simply put it there on the paper so that some of the water is absorbed from the eggplant. So here I am. I'm just going to put this down on this absorbent paper just for a few seconds while I peel the skin off. I'm definitely taking the skin off in a couple of seconds here. And then just take an eggplant, take a sharp paring knife, and just peel it. I've seen people do it this way, and I suppose I could do it if I took my time. Yeah, I guess I could do it. As long as this is the best I've ever done it, because see how little the skin is very thin. Usually when I do it, I take off too much, and I get too much of the pulp here, and the vegetable, and I don't like to do that. But now that I'm doing it, it's working. Well, no, see what I mean? Maybe it's the peeler I have. Well, anyway, this is how it can be done. I started it this way, so let me just finish up this way, but next time I am going to try the peeler. I just might have a hidden talent there, something I didn't realize I could do. When you're making this, when you serve it, go someplace and find some really good, authentic Italian crusty bread and serve it with that. You will not go wrong. It's just delicious. You have to remember that you're kind of deep frying this. I mean, you're not going to need like a cup of oil in there, but you're going to need enough oil so that you can deep fry it, cook it on one side, and turn it over. You'll see what I mean. So you can't just put a little bit of oil at the bottom the way you would for, say, scrambled eggs. You've got to have oil so that you can deep fry it. So I would say maybe about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch of oil in there should do it. And you can tell once you get going if it's not enough. You can't let the oil get too hot. It's got to be the right temperature. So what I've got to do is start it on about medium high. Now, I'm going to take a sauce, which is a combination of bottle sauce and leftover sauce. We don't waste anything. I'm going to put that on a medium low, because that just has to be heated up anyway, because it's going in the oven anyway. So the sauce is on the thick side, so I like to thin it down, but not watery. It's not going to be watery. It's still going to be a little bit on the thick side. So I just cracked 3 eggs in here. We'll start with 3 eggs. It probably is going to be more than enough because I do dilute it. I add water to it, and it's not quite a wash, a little bit thicker than a wash, but I don't like the egg to be this thick because then you'd end up with something that is like a piece of French toast. It would be coated with an egg, so we don't want that. So let me I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. See how that looks, and again, when I think it's good enough, then I'll stop. This is good. Look at how nice that is. This is good. See, that's thicker than a wash, but it's not as thick as like French toast eggs that you dip bread into to make French toast. Not like that. Now the next thing are the Italian breadcrumbs, and again, you just put enough in to coat your egg. If you need more, if this isn't enough, you just add more to it. So it's that simple. Pretty simply is this: taking the eggplant, turning it over, putting it in the batter, the eggs, scrambled eggs, turn them over so it soaks it up. Let it sit here like this just for a minute or two, then it'll absorb the egg. And in the meantime, you've got to keep an eye on that oil because you don't want that oil to get too hot. See it's starting to sizzle now? You see that? I'm going to put it up a little bit more. That's not ready yet. Okay, now what I do is just simply take it out, put it on the breadcrumbs, like this. Very simple to do. Got to make sure it's coated well. Now I deep fry, but you certainly can bake it if you wish. Especially now they have those special pans where you can almost air bake them. And I happen to buy one because I'm going to try it. Just let these soak up the egg. And turn these over. See how nice they're all coated like this? Yeah. Okay. Okay, see, you've got to make sure. See, it's starting to sizzle now. It's not quite ready yet. But you have to. If you put the eggplant in too soon, you're going to absorb. Don't forget, these are only 1/4 of an inch thick. So it's going to absorb a lot of oil. The oil is good. Because, oh, by the way, I use canola oil. I don't use anything but canola oil. See? Well, that should be good. Let me just take a little piece of this bread and try it again. Yeah, see that? This is what I'm talking about. See the sizzle? Now I kind of shake it off because what's going to happen is the breadcrumbs fall off. They fall to the bottom of the pan and they start to overcook. Next thing you know, you're going to have it looks like burnt stuff at the bottom of your pan. Now these don't take long to cook. Let's take a look. See, they're not ready yet. A couple of minutes. Okay, now take a look at this. That's not quite done enough. See, it's going to be browner than that. So let's take a look at another one. There we go. See that one right here? Nice. Let's take another one. That's not quite done. Gotta wait a little bit. Okay, this oil is at temperature now. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Look at that. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Now we're going to start taking these out. Now, see, that's not done yet. We want to make sure they're brown. Not quite. Not quite. These little ones? Yeah, little ones are done. The little one, I'll take those little ones out. See, look at that. Perfect, look at that. My grandson who's doing the filming right now, his mouth is watering. He's just dying to get into them.
I can attest to that, yes. If only you guys could smell these through the camera. They smell absolutely delicious.
Look at this, how nice. These are coming out perfectly, perfectly. Oh, my goodness, this is going to be... Oh, Trish. See, the more you can get in the pan, the better off you can be, because you can start to see how it's getting brown at the bottom. Because it gets to a point that I have to actually change the oil, because otherwise you get all the burnt crumbs, and you don't want that. So what I do is try to get the biggest pan that I have, and this has the biggest diameter, and I just put as many of them in at one time as I can. So if I can get them all cooked up in like 2 batches, that would be great. Okay, now this is what I was talking about. You see that? See this right here? Those are the breadcrumbs. Now if I were to continue cooking in this oil, all of this would get onto the eggplant, and you wouldn't have these beautiful looking things that we have here today. But these are just so good. This is why I'm changing it. See? All of that. That's all that is breadcrumbs. And so when it gets to that point, you don't want to use it because you'll ruin your eggplant. Get a clean pan. Put some clean oil in another pan, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Okay, all I did was take the eggplant, dipped it in the flour. Okay? Now I'm going to just put them in here, put them back in the egg like this. And then from here you just do the same thing. But now they're coated with the flour. put them back in the eggplant. And my mother used to skip this step here, but I'm going to add some more breadcrumbs to it with the flour. All right, this is the last of it. These are the ones that are breaded with, okay, these are the eggplant that I made a few of them. I put them in the flour. It's the way my mother and grandmother used to make them. And I used to make them like this too, originally. Then I discovered breadcrumbs, and I like them both ways. Both ways are delicious. You know, I was just counting up my egg pieces over here, where I have them cooling, and I noticed there were at least 3 or 4 empty spots. And you know what that means? That means my daughter, my grandson, when I wasn't looking, I'm sure, did something. And that's what my husband used to do, the same thing. When I wasn't looking, the eggplant would disappear. Okay, now take a look at this. I just want to see, I think you might be able to see the difference in these. You've got to remember that this is flour. So it's going to be a little more crusty. When you feel it, you can feel the difference. This is a little bit of harder surface, but I'm telling you, they're delicious. And my grandson is right. He said to me that he thought they tasted a little bit sweeter, and he's right. They are sweeter because they're so small, and also because the eggplants that I chose today were male. They're male eggplants. Did you know that? There's a difference. There's a male eggplant, a female eggplant. Well, these were male eggplants, and male eggplants tend to be sweeter and less seeds. I'm going to shut the heat off now because the heat that's in that oil will just continue to finish these off, and they'll be fine. They're almost done now. Okay, now if you want to put these in the oven, you perfectly can put them in the oven at 350. Remember, these are already cooked. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of this sauce at the bottom, and then I'm just going to layer them. And I'm keeping the ones with the flour off to one side. Those will be the ones that this family will eat probably just with marinara sauce. And you just layer these very simply. Well, just see what I'm doing. Put them here, put the smaller ones, kind of put the smaller ones together. And I wouldn't saturate them with sauce because there's going to be a couple of layers here, and you've got to put sauce on each layer. So don't forget, it'll drain down to the bottom layers, so it'll be nice. Now, this is where I will sprinkle some cheese, and I'm going to use this delicious, delicious Italian Asiago cheese. They should just put some of that on it. Now, if you were going to use the mozzarella, this is where you would put the mozzarella. I've got just enough, probably just to make a 2-layer. Again, one of the things is I prefer, like my lasagna, I don't like a really high lasagna, and I don't really like a high eggplant. Sometimes you get it in the restaurants and it's like stacked like that. It's fine, but to me, I prefer it like this. Now I'm going to put one more layer on the top like this. Okay, so I'm going to do another layer of the cheese on the top like this. Voila! And some more of this fantastic Asiago. I just recommend it. Sean just tasted it for the first time. Not grated, he just cut a chunk of it off. But what I've only got this much of it left. But if you just cut that up and just eat it, it's delicious.